I'm inspired by you all because you took this initiative to be here and to better your lives, to do something. You obviously have visions for yourself in the future. You've got some ideas that you want to do. So that's really impressive right there. I completely believe that to take initiative is one of the first things that you need to be a founder. The ability to take an initiative is actually making an idea actionable. So you might have some great ideas, but then you really need to learn how to discern some of those ideas and see what you can make actionable. But initiative you can take in lots of little steps. First initiative, you guys are here, and that's incredible. Resourcefulness is another thing that's very important in order to be a founder, but obviously you all are resourceful because you found yourselves here. So if you can find your way towards things that help you step along the way, that's just a great start right there. What is a founder? So I'm sure you've already been through this in the past 2 hours with your initial course, but for me, you know, founder, it's an amazing title, right? It's prestigious. It means you're a pioneer, you created something, you're your own boss. So who wouldn't want to be a founder? I mean, it sounds fantastic, especially if you don't like to work for other people, right? Go find something and do something your way. If you don't like the way things are, you can find something and do it your way. So it's actually really exciting to be a founder. I'm happy that I have founder as one title. So do you have an entrepreneurial spirit? Maybe this is something that you have asked yourself, you've thought about it, maybe you've always known growing up that you're ready to make a business, or you want to create something new, or you love hustling, you want to do things in a different way. I believe that I have an entrepreneurial spirit, something I was born with. Maybe I've also learned, I'll talk about that too, that I had a great role model growing up. As Aya said, role models are so important. To have someone that is successful and inspiring to help you see what it looks like, you know, to fill those shoes, to do it that way, you know, be inspired by that and see yourself in that position. So as a little girl, I always had all sorts of ideas. I'll share with you a couple of ideas I had just for fun. When I was 8 years old, you know, in US growing up, the lemonade stand is a classic thing kids do to make money, do some commerce. So I decided at 8 years old that I'm going to round up some of the girls in the neighborhood, do a lemonade stand, but have a differentiator, right? To increase sales. I was going to make chocolate covered strawberries to sell. So I made chocolate covered strawberries to sell with a lemonade stand. We're out there on the street. It was the summer. They all melted and were mushy little offerings that we had next to our lemonade. But the people who passed by, they were endeared by us. They left some money. Most of them didn't take the lemonade or the strawberries. But, you know, this was something that I wanted to do. I was excited. So what do we learn from that? First of all, I took a lot of pride in that. So if you feel pride by doing something yourself, that means that maybe you could be an entrepreneur founder, right? I took the initiative. I led a team. I rounded up the neighborhood girls and I found a differentiator, the strawberry chocolate covered. Would I do it again? Probably not, but there you go. You need a differentiator, okay? Something else, when I was 16 years old, I was leveraging the fact that some of the younger girls in our school admired me and looked up to me. So back before really the internet or eBay, when flipping things was, you know, a whole business, I decided to sell some of my old clothes out of the trunk of my car to some of the girls in high school. Brilliant. Nowadays, you know, my friends laugh about it. Obviously, it's really funny. But here and there, I would pop up my trunk. Some of the girls would come around and they would literally buy some of my old clothes out of the trunk of my car. I felt happy. They felt cool. They got some of the stuff, you know, a couple bucks. I always loved the idea of going to like a vintage store or a secondhand store and finding something that was unique, that you could buy for like a fraction of the price. So it was this mentality. It got me excited. I wanted to flip these clothes. That was something that showed, you know, entrepreneurialism, that I had that drive to do something. Was it a business? No, whatever. So I found value in my, my unwanted clothes. I leveraged my status of being admired by some of these young girls and used that for me so they would buy my clothes. I took the initiative and I flipped some stuff. Okay. The next foray, I was 16 as well, was dog walking. So why dog walking? I wanted to be my own boss. I did not want to work for somebody else to get gas money. What could I do? I thought, if I dog walk, I can go around the suburbs, get the keys to people's houses, make my own schedule and make some money. Perfect. So I put an ad in the paper, the local paper. I did a little brief bio of myself. I made sure to mention the school that I went to, which had a good name. People knew it, to give some confidence that that they knew kind of what person I was, that they were letting into their home. And within a week, I had like 5 jobs. I had keys to people's houses. I had flexibility in my schedule, and I was doing this job. Actually, I had so much work that I had to outsource help. So of course I told my sister, get on board. You're now a dog walker. I paid her a fraction of the price that I got. She was working under me, and a little business could have blossomed, but I was 16. I didn't really want to get into it seriously, and I let it go after a month or 2. But that was a little foray into business. I was excited about it. I could have built it into something. I found a service that people needed in the suburbs. They wanted to rely on someone, not go to an expensive, kennel for their pets. I took initiative, and I leveraged the fact that I went to a school people knew of and they trusted, and I used that for me to get my foot in the door. So something that's always very important, and my father actually always told me, is to use your network, your resources, your network, and just leverage what you have, because those things will get you in the door always. So entrepreneurialism is something I definitely had growing up. But I also had a really good mentor who was my father. He started the business Valef Yachts in 1969. So he was a founder himself. Not only a founder, he was a pioneer, because in that time, there was no yachts for charter in Greece. So as a businessman, business mentality, he saw the potential in Greece to launch yachting. He had a couple of friends with boats. He said, there's so many islands. What could I do? Let me convince them to rent out their boat and take tourists to the islands. And that's how he started his business. So he networked with the people he knew that had some boats. He convinced them to get the boats, and he started his business, which was a lot of hard work. It was like a one-man show for quite a good amount of time. He made a very successful business, and it was a lot of word of mouth. He had to be, before the internet, the person behind the company. And this is something I think is definitely coming back into trend. People want to know who is behind the company. So, putting yourself out there, the person you are, meeting people, what are you about? That's what your brand is about. Sometimes that's very important, especially nowadays. So the company Valef Yachts is actually made from his name, Vasilis Lefakinis, Valef. So the company and him were really, one and the same. He really embodied the founder. And I watched him through his career, how he maneuvered in rough times. You have to be very resilient to be leading your own business that you found. You don't have to lead your business. You can be a founder and sell it, but or you can be attached to it, married to it, the way he was. So I had that role model, which really inspired me. So bringing me to how I got in the company, it was 2004, and I came to Greece, and I saw all of this potential for growth in the company. I said, okay, they're doing well, but they need some fresh blood, redo some marketing, let me rework some suppliers, make new connections. So I slowly got myself in the business, non-committal, just to see what I could do and how I could help out. And things started going well. There was a lot of work to be done. I felt that I had a lot to offer the company, and things were going well. So then with my sister, I decided to make it a full-time thing. So I sort of bought into the company and became a co-owner. And now I run the Greek office with my sister. I was very non-committal at the time. So for me, it was a big deal to say, okay, this is my full-time thing. I was an idea person. So for me, just to get into that, it was really big. It was big, but it was not my own. Okay, so I always had that with me, that I want something that is my own, that I founded, I created. I do manage this company and it is a lot of work, but I always knew this isn't my own. Maybe I could do something on my own. So I've always been an ideal person, as I said. I keep tons of notebooks by my bed with me at all times. When ideas come, I write them down. I think it's very important because once you write it down, it's there. It's kind of like a photograph. You can come back to it. You can read about yourself in your mind a couple years ago, and that can re-trigger things if you ever feel lost. Before I go to sleep, my mind is like churning, and I always come up with stuff and I write it down, even when I'm about to fall into blissful sleep, which is so important when you have kids. I like get up and I write those things. Otherwise, sometimes I surprise myself. I wake up and, the ideas are there. I'm like, oh yeah. And I regurgitate them in the morning and I write them down. But it's very important to write down your ideas, anything that comes that inspires you. So I was someone who had tons of ideas, to the point where people were like, stop talking about your ideas. So one very important thing is, besides taking notes, getting feedback. How crazy are your ideas? Are they good? Is it interesting? Do people think you have something? Talk about your ideas with your friends and your family, people you trust. If it's not like so groundbreaking, someone's going to steal it from right under you, you can talk about it in bigger communities. Get feedback. Feedback is very important. Maybe you have a good idea, people really click to it. It doesn't mean that you have to have the go-ahead from other people, of course, if you have an idea that you want to run with, but feedback is actually very important. Where are we here? So yeah, discerning ideas. Okay, you have all these ideas. How to discern which idea could be something to run with and make a business from. I was on the beach one day when I started Opuntia luxury oils with my boyfriend at the time. And I was rambling with actually 3 ideas of things that I thought would be fantastic to launch into the world. Okay, 3 different ideas. One of them was the facial oils and skin oils that were made from organic botanical oils. I was, imagining the beauty of beautiful skin, the feeling of, being on the island, being free, feeling good in your skin. And after a couple of years with myself not finding the right facial product, not liking creams, I remembered the time last year, the previous year in 2015, that I had tried this body oil that I'd seen at the pharmacy called Monoi oil, Tahitian gardenia. It was kind of popular, this new body oil. And I thought, oil feels amazing on the skin. It is amazing to apply. It has nothing to do with creams. What about all organic facial oils and skin oils for your body? So my now husband, then boyfriend, was like, I can see you doing this, actually. I feel that this has potential. Him knowing me, I had always a fondness for aromas, perfumes, natural beauty. So there was a lot of things that made sense about this to him. For me, I was also passionate about it. The way I spoke about it, he said, was different than the other ideas. So for him, he separated this idea and said, this one, I think that, you could go with. And so I started playing with the idea of creating this. So what's the next thing? Maybe you don't know what you want, but you know what you don't want. Part of founding that company was knowing that I don't want facial cream. I knew I wanted something that would help my skin, but I knew it wasn't cream. Okay, that's a good start. Maybe there's something you don't want, something that you have trouble with, that you want a solution for. So this was something kind of born of need, actually, and passion at the same time. That helps a lot. Something you're passionate about and something that you might need. I didn't want cream, boom, oil. I started connecting the dots and created these products. So market research is quite important for the time that you found this idea that you've discerned. Look what's out there. Is your idea out there? How much is it out there? In what way is it out there? Back then, there were very few face oils. Now the market has boomed. Okay, face oils, are a thing, a huge industry, natural skincare. Then actually only like 5 years ago, it was not. So I had the competitors in the palm of my hand. I knew who they all were. Use free tools like Pinterest. I mean, I use Pinterest to keep all of the competitors there in a secret board, where I just started collecting from the internet all of the different face oils that were out there and looking at them. What do they look like? How much do they sell for? What ingredients do they have? Do your market research and know what's out there. That's very important. Also, if you're like an author, let's say, and you want to publish your book, they always ask you to choose 3 books that your manuscript is like to compare to. I think the same thing is really important to do with your idea, with whatever product or service that you might have. So for instance, I said, for down the line, what I hope for my company, I thought of the brand Molten Brown. Molten Brown has various fragrances of body washes and things like that, and simple packaging. So I said, I can see Molten Brown as something to hold here as like a, something that I could really go towards as a brand idea. So I think it's very important to know what exists that you do want to be like. Okay, you don't want to copy something exactly, but something that gears you towards. You need to have these places to reach towards and look and compare. So have an example. What was next? Research and development. Research and development is a really fun stage. For me, at least, it was creative. I bought a bunch of different ingredients and I started playing in the lab, mixing what works, what smells work. So just instinctually, what works, what doesn't work, realistically, technically, what doesn't work. This is something that can be a bit pricey, but if you're resourceful and you're clever about it, you can do it in a decent way. So research and development. Research and development also brought us to the point of realizing that we wanted prickly pear seed oil to be the star oil of our brand. We found out that it was amazingly absorbable. It does not leave the skin greasy. We were so surprised and excited about this ingredient that we found, sort of by chance. Of course, we had done research and we knew that it wasn't in the market. It had growth potential. It was a very inspiring plant, actually, on its own, this cactus, the prickly pear. And we loved the product. After finding the right prickly pear seed oil from different suppliers, we had our oil. We said, okay, this is going to be our star oil, our base oil. So we ended up actually naming the company after this oil. Opuntia is prickly pear in Latin. So we use that as part of our marketing. We said we can really align ourselves with this product, which hasn't really hit the market yet. So when it does, we're going to be there with our names that actually say prickly pear seed oil in Latin. So we sort of started shaping our product. So when you find something, when you're a founder, when you're an entrepreneur, you have to be creative, but also ready to pivot and change directions if something doesn't work. So we created our way. You find an idea and then it sort of starts taking shape. We started looking at packaging. After that, you need to look at packaging, marketing, social media, all of these things, and get feedback. As I mentioned, feedback is very important. So once we had our products that we were pretty happy with, we sent out little samples to friends and not friends, people that, we asked around, would you like to try this product? And we got a lot of feedback. We made these questionnaires and we asked for very specific points. And we took all of those points into high consideration. You have a product, but if you don't know how people are going to receive that at all, you could have a complete flop and you've already invested a lot of money into it. So the feedback part after the research and development is very, very important. We knew we had something great because we got such good feedback, not only from friends and family, because they might be too nice. So you really do need to have other sources than just your friends and family who might, give you nice words and pat you on the back anyway. And we took the criticism and we started changing the product a little bit towards their criticism. Some said, oh, the smell is too heavy, it's overwhelming. Other people would actually say, I wish it smelled a little bit more. I wish it lingered more. Take all of these things and then you create a product that you feel happy with, and then another round of testing and feedback. Feedback is very important. I'll tell you a small example of a failure of a company who didn't take feedback. I was actually asked to come give advice to a founder who had this new app, this really cool, fancy new tech tool, and he asked me to come listen to the idea and give my feedback. He really, prized my feedback. So I went there and I was cool and calm, and I told him very specifically what really didn't work. One thing is his idea was really all over the place. He didn't know what product he had there, what service he was offering. He talked about it was going to be this and this, but what really was it? What is this thing? Could you boil it down? He could not boil it down, and it was kind of overwhelming. So if the founder is confused about what product or service that they have, then it's going to be very confusing for the user as well. So clarity is very important. And that also helps in marketing. If you're going to be clear about what you have, if you know the best value of what you have, then you can market it. We know that prickly pear is a star oil, so we marketed that. We know that natural aromas is a huge plus, and that's rare, and that's what we want to go for, so we market that. So understanding what you have is very important. The company did not listen to my advice or anyone else's advice when they said you really need to, work a little bit more on the mission of this app. And they spent a lot of money continuing. He was very headstrong and he lost a lot of money, and that's unfortunate. If you don't have a lot of resources for yourself, money is very hard to come by, if you don't have loans or easy, ready money to take from, then you have to be very resourceful and clever. So this is a big part of starting a business. Be resourceful, see what funds and resources you have, leverage all of those things, people that can help you out. This is very important in the very beginning of creating something. Use your networks, right? And then after that, we needed to find outlets. Where are we going to sell our product? So this is very important down the line after you've figured it out, your website, all those things. Your outlets, where is your product going? Where is your service going to be used? Often you will be surprised who the end user is. Very low budget for us. We always move very slowly so we don't just combust and lose a lot of money. But we had placed our products in a lot of places in high-end Greek islands like Mykonos. And we realized that high-end travelers with a lot of money don't buy skincare on a whim. If they're at a really luxurious beach and there's this beach tent that sells some luxurious things, we thought, great place for our products. We didn't really get sales. So sometimes who you think your user is not who your end user really is. So you have to pivot and then say, where else can we place this product? So being flexible is quite important. As I said, growing slowly, at least for us, for me, is quite important. I always knew that I don't want to just sign up with a huge beauty supplier, like let's say Sephora, Ulta, and then not be able to give them the supply that they demand, or have a problem in the chain of supply and give bad products, or not have bottles ready. So growing slowly is really important, so you can understand your business, you can understand your suppliers, you can feel things out with more minimal risks. So growing slowly is important. I think it should be important actually to everybody, so you don't burn out really quickly. You don't burn your suppliers, don't ruin your brand reputation right away or at all, obviously, if you can. So that's just a little bit of what I wanted to share with you guys today about my path, some things I felt important for business. So I think having confidence is also very important to be a founder. I think it's great to really be behind your idea. You have to feel it. You have to really want to. If you don't believe in it, no one else is going to want to buy it. It's going to be hard to sell it. If you're passionate about it, you believe in it, you have confidence about it. Confidence can come from even a few people saying, I love what you created. even one person to be like, what you made is amazing, or like that service, I really need that service. That's the most amazing thing. Have a couple of people who are behind you to give you that confidence that drives you when you have to make sales, talk to people. It's important. So confidence will give you hope and faith and the drive and the power to keep on. So that's what I wanted to share, and I'm open to any questions you guys might have. I hope I didn't overwhelm you by talking so quickly. I had a lot to share. So I'd be happy to hear from you guys if you have questions.